We're ready. All right. Hey, this is Jim Morrison with the Flower Network. Thank you for actually coming to actually sit down and talk with us today.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. We've been trying to talk to you for a while, so it'll definitely be cool. You're Jim Morrison. You're the actual founder or owner or runner of the actual Errl Cup, which is a festival, a cannabis festival in Arizona.
We actually, the Errl is more of we targeted more of the oil side of it, but it is a cannabis festival. Errl meaning, back in the South, they said, give me some ethyl and some Errl. Ethyl was the ethanol, and Errl was the oil of it. So that came from that's why it's called Errl Cup. So we do flower in it too, but being that we kind of wanted to do a concentrate cup when it came into play, because they had the cannabis cup, but they didn't really have a concentrate type cup. So that's where Errl came from.
Ah, okay. So it was more of a concentration cup than cannabis.
We do. I mean, rightly so, and we announce all the concentrate awards at the end. But we also have 20. I think there are 29 categories. So there's the same amount of flower categories as there are concentrate categories in our event.
Okay. So let me ask you a little bit about yourself, Jim. Are you from Arizona originally?
I moved every 2 years in my life, man. I was born in Lake Tahoe, California. And I ended up here basically coming back to take care of my dad in this area. And then this event kind of kept me here.
Okay. Start out. I asked you, when was the first time you smoked weed then?
Shit.
And where was it? Who were you with?
Honolulu, Hawaii. I went to school there for about 3 or 4 years or so. But I ended up there, and it was a prom night, I think, and it was up in this young lady's house, Anna, I believe. And they had the school that we went to was I didn't know at the point in time we went there, but it was people got kicked out of the other schools for doing drugs. So we were just basically trying to go to a school that was a private school instead of going to a public school there. So it was called the Academy of Pacific in Honolulu, Hawaii. And I only had 28 graduating seniors in my class. So based on that thing, we went to the prom. I think it was on my sophomore. It was my junior year. Yeah, so I think it was 16. 2 times. High as fuck. They had some good weed there.
So your first time smoking weed was in Hawaii at prom.
Yes, sir.
So
after prom, yeah.
After prom. So were you hooked on it? I mean, what did it do for you?
Yeah, that was, it was, you could tell it was something that you want to do again. So, and then it just was an easier one for me. I mean, my name's Jim Morrison. I get, everything thrown at me left and right. So, you had to have some rules in your life. And when I started out, weed was an easy one to keep.
Okay, fair enough. So then how did you get the idea to actually start the Errl Cup, or how did it come about?
My sister passed away about 9 years ago, and it kind of got me to the point where she had MS, and she was basically given medications that were indicas instead of sativas, and they weren't really testing the medication back then. So after her passing, it kind of made me focus on trying to get something together and do something that would help people. And so I went to my attorney and asked him and see if I could do it. And he goes, yeah, you can do it. All these things have to be free because you got to allow the people to come in free because you can't, you charge them, you're selling weed. Your judge's kit, you can't sell it. You're going to have to give it to them free. Because if you sell it, you charge them, you're selling weed. And you're going to have to give away, medication at the event. And I'm like, can I still do it? And he's like, yeah, you can still do it, Jim. So we went and got all the legal stuff right because I was too small for getting my ass thrown in jail. And from that point, it just it grew pretty big.
So when you said you could do it, when you started out, what was your thought on it? What did you think you were going to do with it? Because I know that had to be a lot of paperwork or something to go through. Can we do a cannabis fest or Errl Cup?
Yeah, but it's better to say, hi, my name's Jim Morrison. Can I come smoke weed at your face first? You're like, wait, what was that? Yeah, I'd like to come smoke weed at your event. A lot of other people. So that was always a hard call. But no, it was, I went into it and went to the VFW who, when I was growing up, I got, my mom didn't have much money. So the VFW actually gave us food and stuffed animals for Christmas, Thanksgiving stuff. So I went back there because I knew they needed money. And I got the place that was in Tempe. It was actually, I think it was an American Legion there, and which was also helped us. We went out and they launched our first event, and it happened there. It was a interesting process. I mean, because Tempe's a wonderful place, and they always helped us do things. But when you go start an event like that, and especially not doing it, everybody had tried, and I wouldn't be able to do it. But I have a business partner, Jay, who helps me, because I would have smoked all the weed and spent all the money, and there would have been no event. You know, I'd be like, fuck, you know, I'm high as hell, and I got no cash left. So with his help, we were able to move forward. We didn't make much money on the first one, but we had 76 entries. 34 of those entries I went and bought. So you know, in the first part of the events, we were doing January and July events. So in January, we would go out and buy a concentrate of flowers for the event, and in July we go out and buy concentrates. So we go to all the dispensaries that produced them, or growers that produced them, and bought them off the shelf like you would. You know, but I spent my money, and we spent our money to test it too. So it made it good because they didn't really want to play ball with me when they started. You know, I tried to get them to enter my event and so forth, and they didn't want to. So I just bought it, and I entered it for them. Some of them won. You know, like, I didn't enter. I said, yeah, I entered it for you. So, and it took from there, because then we went from like 72 entries to 144, and then it slowly went up to 2-something. I think we had 500 and something in our last event. And
okay, so when you first started going around and asking people about it, that had to be like, hey, will you give free cannabis or weed away at our events?
It was tough to get. I mean, we only had a few that would do it. I believe one of them was Yavapai, was one of the ones that gave out at that point in time. And the other one that gave out medication, my first event, was actually a caregiver that gave out medication. So we only had 2 people giving out medication in my first event. My last event, geez, there had to be over 60 different products that were giving out medication. I had over 150 booths, but you know, some take 2 booths and so forth. So my vendor count was probably in the 100 range, but not all those are businesses that give out medication. So roughly, I would say about 60 now. So we went from having 2, and it was hard for them to do that, because you don't understand that their formula for making money isn't that way. What are you trying to say? I'm supposed to give out some fucking weed? You know, I don't work that way. I want you to pay me money. So, and I told them that, you know, you're going to get that because they're going to react to it. They're going to, 1, appreciate that you gave it to them, and 2, sample it, which that's all they want to do. You know, because people, you know, when they get out of a dispensary, or even the places you go as a person you buy from, you don't want to get fucking shafted. You don't want to go home and go, God, this fucking sucks. So, you know, with doing this, we built a little bit of ability to show people the results, but also show them all the testing. You know, my site has over right now 5,600 tests that we've done on all the cannabis that we paid for. So we list all the results of it. You know, we're open, and we want everybody to know what's going on. Because we want to make sure that everybody has clean medication.
So that seems like a tough business model to sell. So from the first event to the second event, did people like see the difference, and you saw a big growth, or how did it grow?
We saw a difference in people. We went from 2,200 to about 4,400 people. We had 144 entries, so we doubled our people and our entries. Medication given out my second event, roughly, I'd probably say there was 7 to 10, maybe 11. Understand though, I mean, my first event booth size was 20. My second event booth size, and I thought I was rocking, was 40. And my last one here was, you saw the layout, it was 151, but that didn't include all my sponsor booths. So I filled 6 acres of space that time.
So in your first, where was your first location at?
My first location was at it was in Tempe, right off of Industrial Way. There was an American Legion there. And it was a parking lot, and I'd say that was less than an acre. I think it was maybe 20,000 square feet in the parking lot that we could use. And it went well. It was, you know, I was really happy it was over, because we did it. Nobody had ever did it before, and I just had a funny feeling, you know, they were trying to come down on us, but you know, and that's just how you are when you do something like that. You think,
everybody's out to get you.
Yeah. Well, you know, my business partner saw me leaving with a backpack. He's like, Jim, we've got reports that you're leaving the place with a backpack. I'm like, no, dude. I'm not taking off yet. Don't worry. Stay with this.
All right. Fair enough. So your second was the second Errl Cup, and what year was this?
That was 2016, I think. It's been 7 years, so yeah. And then we did the one that was the 710 clip. So we did 6 months later. We did a 710 event. So we called the 710 degree cup. Had that, and that's had the 144 people and 144 entries and the 4,400 people. That was indoors, and that was at the VFW on 48th Street and Thomas, which we love those guys. They are actually now going to be the first VFW that has a smoking room for veterans, so they can come get high there in the nation. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay.
Really good people.
So then so the 2016, so how did you grow over every year? What was your message, or what did you focus on to get more and more people out there and to grow to like 150?
It was, you know, when you go out and try to help them see what medication they were buying, and make sure that they were getting the value for what their dollar was. We became an advocate group. I remember I didn't go out of it to not earn money. He told me I couldn't earn money in certain areas, so we had to find other stuff. We have some charge points like our VIP area. It's where you get everything but weed. So you'll have it's some food, rigs to use, a place to hang out that's different than everybody else. But we don't sell any medication at all. So with the benefit of the dispensaries and the other wholesalers, it's helped us grow dramatically because of the fact that they were able to get in touch with their customer base, allow them to try it, and they would go that day and go buy it. So they would come back to me and go, Jesus, Jim, I had an instant reaction on your services, which they can't see off a billboard. They can't see off of a marketing ad, but they can see it and that's because somebody went and tried it. When you go and try it and you go, shit, that got me high, you're going to want to go buy it. So, they figured that out. And it came down to where, a lot of these guys give out a lot of medication. And I'm thankful for it. Every one of the sponsors that we've ever had and every one of the vendors we've ever had, I ask a lot of them. It's very hard to go to somebody and say, would you come to my event and give out a lot of medication for free? Like, are you fucking high?
Yes. So,
but it's a better model. I don't think I'd change the model. Even if places had ability to sell the weed, I wouldn't sell it. I do the same model because I think people experience it better. You go into it with you try different things. And most people that go to my event, I'd say 30 to 50% of them have never smoked wax before. And they go in there. And then they try it, and it's a totally different experience for them. Or you have other companies that have other products that are, if it'd be an edible product or something like that they didn't have the ability to try, and they go try it, they see a different side of the business. We all looked at it as, I did at least, it's like, fuck, this is pretty cool getting high. But after I was in it for a while, I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of medical benefits in this. I used to just think it was getting stoned, but a lot of these people that I associate with that I've given out judges kits since I was on the medical side were people that, that their whole life was saved because of weed. One guy almost died. He had a 98% chance of dying and a 2% chance of living. And he's a rocket scientist. The cat lived, and he's still a rocket scientist today. And the only thing that saved him was weed. So it was something that was amazing to me because, I was a pothead, man. I started in Hawaii. It was like, fuck, I just get high to get high. And seeing that type of stuff made you believe in it a lot more. And so that's why, I say weed now, but cannabis is what I refer to it as. I don't look at it as marijuana because I think it's a label that they put on it. We went from, in 76, in 39, I think it is, we were illegal. And to 2020, we went to essential. How can that happen? And that's a good thing. Because in 2020, now they're saying that you have to have that. You're locked away, but you need your weed. How would you think you get to this point? I never thought we'd get to this point.
No, I didn't ever think we'd get to this point. So to piggyback on that, what do you think the laws are? How do you feel about the laws in Arizona versus cannabis versus other states?
I don't agree with the ways that they wrote it. It was written towards the dispensary side of it, and I never personally I have a disagreement with it. Errl Cup itself never stood a stance on it because, that's not our position. We're not somebody that we do events. And I go out and help the legislation side of it. I won't lie to you. I went and helped to get the testing bill passed so we could have medical tested here. But to go on and I don't believe in it because I believe that and the guys especially that started it, they all had a chance as a capitalist society. Let's everybody have a chance. In my opinion, you got $7 billion in Arizona that's weed that is every year is sold here. Out of that $7 billion, 1.4 of it is legal. Incorporate those other people, the 1.4 or 5.4 million out there. Bring them back in like Michigan does in a micro businesses. Allow them to get in the market, just like when they did in Prohibition when alcohol went up, and then they brought alcohol legal. They allowed the Sam Adams and the other people to get into this market. And in Arizona, it's a very big market. We're I haven't looked at statistically yet when I used to, but most of them rate us within number 6, 5, right around there, to what the amount everybody wants in this market. And it's because we have a very good market. We have a very strong market. And you're limiting it to the amount of people we have and basing it off of how many pharmacies we have, how many physical pharmacies we have. Well, shit, they knew the physical pharmacies were going downhill. It wasn't going to go uphill, so there's never going to be an increase in physical pharmacies. So it was just written because they didn't want it to be, it was a not a capitalist, more of a monopoly type of situation on it. And that's why Harvest owns over 17 of them, and Curaleaf owns, I don't know, like 13. They're both good people, don't get me wrong, and they don't do bad things. It's just, it's the gold rush of our generation. We should have picks and shovels and be able to get some too.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Tom. So what is basically, I guess my last question is, what does it take to actually start a festival like the Errl Cup? Like, so today I said, like, what did it actually take? What would I actually do? What is the day-to-day, every day?
It's actually getting, it's the people that we have behind us as the volunteers, but in any day, it comes down to knowing, laws and getting out there and, depending on how you do it, because I do it legal. There's a lot of them out there that aren't legal. They run all theirs off of paying to get in the door, and there's still weed there. In my opinion, just for the purposes of being legal, you have to go out there and it didn't come overnight, man. I busted my ass. I sent my shit out there and get them to do it. Beautiful presentation, and I get phone calls from I call up these people and say, hi, can I talk to them about it? And the lady we like on the phone goes, you had a very nice presentation, but they're not going to talk to you. Because they don't want to talk to me. So it's hard to get to those people. They're not easy people to talk to now.
And if you say people, like who are the people, like permits or dispensary owners that actually
you have to get in the business, you have to get in there. They get a lot of pitches, and back in my time, it was a lot of stuff that came through, and they weren't gonna, they didn't think I was a challenge to them. So making it a little bit different, I went out at a different method. I didn't allow them to dictate the situation. I tried to dictate the situation by becoming more of the advocate of it. So with anybody that would want to start a business like that, you would want to come up with a different way that you'd want to do it. Come up with things that make it unique to your situation. Because, with any industry, this is supposed to be a $40 billion industry by 2025. And out of that $40 billion industry, they say there's every $10 you sell in cannabis, there's another dollar sold in auxiliary business. That means that we're going to have another $4 billion industry by 2025 in smoke shops and in events and all the things that support cannabis. That's a lot of money. A lot of people would like to be in that type of money. So anybody that wants to go out and do business in this industry, it's just putting your nose to the grindstone and doing your best you can to get it going, because it's a great industry to be in. Trust me, it's a quick industry to be in. This moves a lot faster than the internet and everything else I've been in, but and it's not the greatest people that you work with. You're coming from people that were selling weed and shit like that to doing business, but it's we have a great community. You were at my event. Yeah. It's wonderful people. We don't have fights. We're not people that argue with one another. We hear excuse me more than anything else, and they just want a place to get high at, and they just want to be able to hang out with the same type of people. And you probably saw, you have people that have no money at all to people that have an extraordinary amount of money that go to that event. Yeah. And it goes across the board, and it's because they have one thing in common, which is cannabis. And that's the beauty of it. We have a lot of power too. Remember, we this year we put out 66% of what the luxury cannabis taxes are for the taxes for all the state. Of luxury taxes, we produced 66% of that. We knocked alcohol and tobacco off. So they only had 33% of alcohol by tax. We had 66%. You know how much power those guys had before? We should be having that fucking power. You know what I'm talking about? Because we all do it. We all smoke it. We all have the same thing in common. Uh-huh. So, it's something that if people get behind it, we have a big block of people, and you saw them. They go across all levels. They're Republicans, Democrats. They don't give a shit. They like cannabis. I love to have a party called the Green Party, but they already got that. But it's like we have a good group of people, and that's what makes it. It's our volunteers. It's the people that we do it, and those are the people you have to get to support you.
Gotcha. Yeah. So your next event. So how early do you start planning, or next year, and what do you actually have to do, and what actually evolve? What all do you do in the planning?
Any event that I do, I usually take 3 to 6 months to do it. So our next event coming up, but we've planned a little bit farther than that, is that we have Errl Camp that comes up next. And that's kind of our schedules. We have our, spring event, which is the Errl Cup. We have Errl Camp, which usually is the ending month of September, and we have the Errl Cup, which is the end of October. And then the Errl Camp is up in Camp Verde, which is 72 acres up there. It backs up into the Verde River. A young lady there named Amy, and the gentleman that owns it do basically about 500 kids, and they have to pay $250 to be able to do a fun. I think it's like a summer camp there. So she's a wonderful person, so we do as much as we can for her. It's got a lot of facilities, so we kind of just make it a place where we all can get together and get high for a couple days.
Okay, so do you do a lot more marketing, or how do you get the word out on all of it?
Most of it comes from our social media side of it and word of mouth. I don't try to with this business in the beginning. There wasn't really many outlets to do marketing. So I originally, and JB and my partner, told him I'd break his fucking legs if we didn't have anybody show up because we didn't put out any paper. But he did the social media side. He goes, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. And that's when we had 2,200 people, so his legs are fine. You know, but
he's like, oh, we don't need no marketing. We'll just put it on the internet.
And all my life, I've been in the paper business. My dad was a mail order business, so I'm like, all right, you motherfucker. So it was fine there, and then that transpired into it becomes the people learn from it from other people. I mean, we give away free weed and it's free entry. I don't try to market as much now at all because it's my event has too many people that come in. I mean, you saw the crowds that came in. I had 40 and 30-foot aisles there, man. I mean, and you saw the distance, how you walk around people in the aisles. So, I mean, it was, I'd love to have more people, but I'm just like, I'd rather just have it, you know, because, shit, that's 6 acres there. I mean, I don't know where I'm going to go and be able to get more acres. You know what I mean? So, it's, I don't try to market as much now, but most of it was on the social media side, and a lot of it was word of mouth. We did find out when we originally were doing it, you don't put any advertising dispensary names on our posters. Our posters are generic. They don't have another name of a dispensary on there. It's just our poster on stuff.
Why is that?
Because dispensaries won't put it up if you got somebody else's name on it. So if you got Reef on there or something else, nobody else is putting that poster up. They don't want their fucking name up there. But if our stuff's up there, then it's not a problem. That took me 2 events to learn.
I was going to be my next question. I think I saw you try to start an Errl Cup or something in Las Vegas in like 2017.
We originally went to Las Vegas, and that kind of got my ass slapped there. It was a lot different. You know, they were their board that handled it there. They've gone through liquor, prostitution, gambling. So when I went in there and started waving my hands and saying, "Hey, we're gonna do this and this," they're like, "No, dick. No, you can't smoke outside." So my event is barely been trained on getting to try the product, so you can't do any type of public smoking at all. And even the private stuff that they try to do, it doesn't work. So I learned it hard because I kind of followed the Cannabis Cup there, been to that same spot, and then the dispensaries are controlled by the state. The state tells them not to do it, they ain't fucking doing it. So I had to, we lost a little bit, came back, and then we're looking to try to take it up to like an Oklahoma, a Michigan, and stuff like that. I needed to find out the laws prior to going. That was just a learning process that we did. So Nevada, I'd love to be able to do, but it would be a cup with no smoking in Nevada. Because I lived in Nevada. My mom was from Nevada. That's where we were at the VFW and so forth. But we wouldn't be able to get high there. Not the way that we get high here at all. I mean, they don't even, like the Jack Herrera Cup there, you don't get high there. I mean, they might be smoking their vape pens and stuff, but they will get cracked down so hard. There's no public consumption per se. I know you smoke around, everybody smokes in Vegas, like, ooh, no public consumption. But when you go and try to do an event, they come say, there's no public consumption, Dick. And you're like, really? Okay. And then they're like, okay, so you think you can get around? Because here, not to say Arizona Department of Health Services isn't bad about it, but it's like the dispensaries have and the wholesalers have their own thing. In Nevada, they've gone through that before. They had prostitution, they have, gambling. They know how to crack down the whip if they want to crack down the whip. And those guys know because they have a very good license. It's like, no, we're not going to do anything that harms us. So that was a lesson I had to learn. So I pulled out of that place.
What would you say was your biggest lesson learned or biggest mistake or you made early on doing the Errl Cup?
We tried to do a camp originally, and we tried to do it it was at Domes. It was in Casa Grande. It was haunted. Dude, I swear. Fuck, shit you not.
So some weed people in a haunted place.
Well, yeah, that was the purpose. It was right at Halloween. We were going to do a haunted weed camp, okay? So we're rolling down there. And when I was down there checking it out, too, and then I'm waiting for the guy to get there, and I had this lady roll by in her truck and this other lady in there. And they're like, hey, what you doing? You broke down or anything? I said, no, I'm just waiting for, guy to come up here and talk. We're doing an event here. She goes, oh yeah? She goes, yeah, the lady here don't like that. I'm like, what you talking about? She goes, yeah, there's ghosts here. I'm like, what? She goes, and she started telling me the stories and shit. And we looked it up, and the ghost people, 100 people, came like a week before our event or 2 weeks before we were supposed to have the event. And so I went down to Pinal County because we did everything right, got all our permits up. These people were worried. I didn't know this at the time, but they were out there talking on social media, and the heads of I was a 5-panel people up there I had to go meet, and because I already passed all the city stuff and the county stuff, I had to go in front of their council. So, and supposedly there's a chatter going on. So I'm in there. I come in there, and I got, my business partners there, and then the lady who is running the whole state side and approved us and everything's there. And we sit down. There's all these fucking people there. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Look at the guy next to me. I'm going, why is all these people here? He goes, for you. I'm like, what? So I went up there. I was up there for 45 minutes, man, talking to these guys, explaining my event. And then at the point to one of the councilmen goes over to the attorney and goes, these guys have filled out and asked to do everything that we want them to do. If we deny this permit, are we legally responsible in any way? And the attorney goes, we can talk about it in closed session. They went to closed session. They came back 15 minutes later, and they said, denied. So I'm like, what? So I'm leaving. Here's the crazy. I'm leaving the place. I'm going to take a piss. And I got this guy that comes in the bathroom. And he's all, Kathy Murtaugh, or whatever her name was. She was talking to people beforehand. Check it out. I'm like, what? And he leaves. I'm like, the fuck is this, dude? So it was supposedly the gossip, the word of the town, because I had calls coming before that it was going to happen. And that cost us a lot just because we scheduled to have it there. We tried to get it going. We had to switch and make it kind of different. So that was we kind of said we wouldn't do camps after that. And I was just like, fuck, I want to go get high with a lot of people. So we just made it happen after that. But that was the earliest one. We got kicked in the ass because it was a cool place. Good we didn't do it because one of the domes collapsed the week after it. And it was a big dome. And they were made from these, it was like semiconductor factories, and they were made out of like balloons. So they looked like caterpillars with no arms and stuff. And then they had a spaceship one too. That looked like a spaceship. You can go see it. It's in Casa Grande Domes. And it was fucking crazy. I mean, we were going to camp there because thank God we didn't. Because the haunted people were down there, and it was fucking some scary shit. They do cool graffiti in there too inside the dome. Check it out. But they won't let us do it there. I mean, they wouldn't let us have it there. They denied that big time. But we were going up against Country Thunder. I'm like, you allow Country Thunder that people that get drunk and kill people, and that was their premise, is that you were going to let people drive while leaving your event, and they were going to crash and kill people, is why they said that they were denying us.
But they allowed Country Thunder.
They allowed Country Thunder, which allowed rapes and death like that. That's what I said. And when we have no alcohol, we're not looking to kill anybody. We're just looking to have a place to have our event and get high, and that's why we came to you. And, we were in council session with the sheriffs, with fire, with the city taxation people, all the people for Pinal County. All of them approved us, everybody. And then we went into the council that was the county itself. Nope. We didn't have one fucking person vote for us, man. Fucked up.
Interesting.
And I would get asked it by the people after the end. They'd be like, well, if you would have gave us $20,000 as law firm, we would have made you. We would have got you passed. I'm like, we have $20,000. You kidding me? I mean, fuck, man. You just lost somebody, you asshole.
Interesting. Money. So I guess that brings us to an interesting thing. So when you first started out, I'm sure it wasn't about the money, all right?
It's never been about the money.
Never been. But
so it was until it changed.
Yeah, and then eventually it turned profitable. But
well,
so how much do you how much?
It was about the money in the beginning because I did want to make money. But after I went through it and did it as a free event and gave it to them free, I wouldn't change any other way because we got more back from the people than we got money side of it. You went to my events. How many income sources did you see I had? Where do you see places that I was getting money at? I get my money from my sponsors and from my vendors that come in. And they do it. That's what I mean. They do a lot for us. They give away the medication as well as giving money for my booths. I mean, that's why we're not able to charge people. It's because we have the ability to offset based upon what we have. I mean, put it for example, Cannabis Cup and their type of events, they make, $5 million off of it because they're charging $50 a ticket to get in and $50 for a VIP ticket, where you get a bottle of water and some gummies. So you look at $100 there and you get 20,000 people coming at $100. That's a lot of money. So our aspect is that, but they also spend a lot of money on their entertainment side. We looked at it as if when we did it free and then it actually worked, our model was good because we're not looking to make a hell of a lot of money with it. We became advocates. I mean, I wanted to, but we kind of got pushed into it. They're like, oh, go talk about the testing. You got the event. It's like, fuck, what am I talking about? So I had to go talk to these fucking idiots. I mean, not idiots. They were good people, and they passed it and stuff. But people got pissed at us. I mean, the dispensaries got pissed at us because we showed them all the bad medication that was out there. I mean, and we were the only ones doing it. So it's, when you get into it, I got into it. Yeah, there's a lot of money to get into it when I got into it. When I figured I couldn't do it, it wasn't a bad thing because, we had a volunteer party the other day, which you were here. And I think there was over 65 people that were here volunteer-wise. I wouldn't be able to do it without these people because it's just me and Jay. CJ's a volunteer. We don't pay anybody. They love it for what it is because of the weed, and then they like being around the people that they meet, and it becomes a family. like anybody does.
And I was just going to ask you about that. Yeah, I was here at the volunteer, and it seems like you almost galvanize a little community. Yeah. Like how did you guys kind of start that and cultivate it? Because I even talked to some people, and that's kind of the first thing that they highlighted was the community of it. I showed up at I'm an introvert, but I like coming here because I meet people and talk to me. And how did you cultivate that or push that over time?
We had a lodge that started it where we had, and this kind of was an offset of that, but we had a place that people could go. It was Cheers without the alcohol. And then from that, people met other people. At our event, they met other people. And then they were like, I like those people. I mean, one, because we share the same interests and passion, but when you have a commonality with people, it's a lot easier to discuss things and talk with things, and especially when you're high. and we have a lot of good people from all forms of people, all races, all colors, and everything, and all different opinions. And you saw it in there. We treat everybody. We love everybody because we believe that cannabis, and that's coming from wanting to earn all the money to not wanting to do that anymore, because we looked at it as how many people it's helped, how much it's helped us as well as the individuals from a medical purpose. And now we're just starting this journey of how many more people it can help. And the aspect of, I didn't get that, most of my family members are on medication daily, type of stuff for, whatever type of symptoms they might have. I'm not. And I had never had because I smoke weed all the time. And there's so many other things that I wish there was a chart that allow you to know the medications you're taking to be able to take weed, to take them away. We have too much fucked up shit that goes in our body. And this is natural. And now that it's recreational natural, we should be out there benefiting, and whoever can take it. I mean, one of the highest populations that they want to hit right now, because they know it's something that is a high market for them, is the seniors, because they know that they don't have much money to pay for their medications, but they also know weed helps them in those areas. And you saw too that we had a lot of people. It wasn't our diverse crowd. I mean, we might have the younger generation in some, but man, we had people there. I swear there was like 90. A lady that was 90 years old. We have 21 and up, but 18 if you have the medical card. But it goes across all spans. I mean, if you ever looked at statistics for a weed card, your number one generation is actually, I think it's like the 30s through the 40s people that actually have the highest one. It's not by much. It's like 28%, 26% or something like that. But it spans everybody because it helps everybody. And unless you understand it and you try it, and again, I didn't believe it until I saw it. It's changed the world type of thing, but it fucking is. We didn't have this type of economy putting in this time, and now it's essential in here. How much fucking money it made last year? I mean, it was $1.4 billion. Taxation alone that went to the police based upon how the program was written was $47 million. And that's good, but I mean, there's other.
We paid the police $47 million
out of the money that the taxation for the weed. They get 30. I think it's 36% of it. So that would work out to be about $47 million from the 1.4.
Man, you know a lot of the numbers.
I have to get up. I talk to the legal side. Remember, a lot of things happen for legislation now. Since it's legal, bad things happen. There's X amount of legislations come up. We lost a gentleman I think it was about 2 years ago, Mike, who handled NORML, and he was really on top of that. And now, if we don't know it's coming, or we can't talk to anybody, and people call us, because I'm like the phone tag guy. I'll get the ones all the way from the consumer to the legislation, all the way to the owners of the dispensary, talking to them. And if we can't offset some of the things, they tried to pass a law where they weren't going to allow me to do my event in there. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're not doing anything wrong. But it was just legislation that somebody put in one bill that could pass. It's fucked up shit. So I had to. I don't want to be. I hate it. But if I don't, there's not many other people that are. And I think bad things happen if people don't look in front of themselves. I'm not somebody that wants to be in the political side. I think I can do well, though. With a name like Jim Morrison. Come on. You get a vote for me anyway. But being that said, there's shit that's been hitting the fan every legislation's happened. And it happens very quickly. So, and if you can't get people to get it noticed or get somebody galvanized behind it, honestly, it's like us together. We should have a voting block. We should be a community together that votes, because how much we have control-wise now and how much money we're putting in the system. Remember, tobacco and liquor used to be the controls of it. And who's controlling it now, bitches? We are. Use it. Nobody liked my initial, campaign slogan, which was, we should get people together, which was smoke the polls. Which I don't understand why, but we're going to change it maybe and try to go with a different one. Maybe, smoke at the polls or something. But, it was just, if we got all our people together, and problem is that we're pot people, they don't see the power we have. But we really do have a lot of power because how much money we produce and how many people that we have in the community. You think about how many people that get high recreational now, how many people that get high overall, and that just don't go to dispensaries. It's a lot. And you get those people that, and they're usually the same type of minded people. We don't want to fuck with anybody. And we're not going to Circle K to rob it. We're going to get a Slurpee, maybe something else to eat. That's about it. We're just trying to go on with our fucking day, and the weed helps us out a little bit.
Okay. All right. So I have a question on your testing. You said you guys tested how do you guys test the product, or what goes into that? Because I saw a lot of the awards, and people were winning first and second for different type of concentrates.
We go into our testing stuff. Goes through a whole panel of things that they do, and then we go in and do test for your regular things, which is the terpenes, and then the THC level and so forth. And then depending on if it's a concentrate or if it's a flowery, they go and do testing for non-solvents and what bad things are in there. And then on the flower side, it's more the mold and so forth. What happened with us when we looked over and we went from a place that had no testing to testing, we went to ability to where nobody was testing the products now, and everybody's supposed to be testing the products, but we see that didn't happen because of the labs that go forth and do it. So our testing, I think this last event was very high priced because we don't get the state test requirements, which go through it and have to be state certified. That would cost me $600 a test. We actually get what they call is informational based tests. So he doesn't have to report to the state. So he doesn't have to then do QC examples because his costs rise when you do a state example. I think you have to do a QA example over here for the state just to make sure your shit's right. So I think it's 1 for 1 or 1 for 2. So we have informational testing purposes that go instead of what they call state certified testing. I'm not paying $600 a test to get my shit certified. So we pay it so you can see it. It's the same test.
Okay, fair enough. I got a game play with you. Got a couple quick questions. You can tell me pick. You tell me which one you like. All right, we'll go quick. Papers or blunts? Or cigar? Indica or sativa?
Indica.
Favorite weed?
That would be 3 times crazy.
3 times crazy. Okay. Shatter or batter?
Shatter, because that's the best.
True Infusion or Shango?
I don't pick anybody, man. Every one of them is wonderful. I mean, they've all been good sponsors at my event, so I don't choose between them.
All right, fair enough. That was it. So, question: Is there anybody kind of in the cannabis or the weed game that you look up to, or you get information from, advisors, or?
I do. I get them from honestly a lot of the owners that I've met and other people in the industry that I've met. It's a tough one to get that information from because I have people I help out and I love to help anybody, but going up to the thing, there's not. These guys are fucking quiet as it is, and they're secretive motherfuckers. I mean, they all should be talking to each other. They'd help each other out, but you know how it is. I mean, when they were originally doing it, they didn't want to talk to each other anyway. So they have that same type of culture going into it. But I met some good people. I mean, there's one guy, I don't really remember his name. When I originally was calling people, he was out of Superior. He owned Superior. On my phone, I called him the Mole because he would tell me, he's like, they're not going to talk to you, man. Like, why not going to talk to me? Because you're going to tell them shit that they don't want to hear. What do you mean by that? He goes, you're going to test their product. I'm like, okay. So he was an owner that talked to me. None of them would talk to me. That cat did. And then he wasn't a mentor though. But then when I got used to meeting some of these guys, you see guys that got into these gigs that are top in the level in that industry. In one of the cannabis industry. Like give you examples, Caleb, and he used to work there at True Harvest, Shango, for example. And I also have another buddy who's DJ who that's why it's funny you gave me the question. Who is the owner of True Infusion? So 2 of them are my mentors. Which you asked me which one has the best product. I can't say it because it's something like that. But I mean, DJ is the one who started me in this business. He was the one that taught me that. He's a younger guy than I am, but he's been doing it a lot longer than I have. And without him, when my sister passed, I don't know what I'd be doing. And he pushed me in the right direction. And he's a great gentleman. Gives me a lot of wisdom. And Caleb was someone I met afterwards that is someone that was an outside guy that came into the business that came from a different industry. And brought in there, so he has a different perspective on the business. And we play golf, and it's something that you can look at and say and get some advice from that. But it's hard because a lot of these guys won't talk to you because they don't like sharing secrets. Everybody thinks they got secrets. No fucking secret, They should be talking together. That's my opinion, but it's something I don't try to preach at them.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
How'd you get into this one?
I would say.
How'd you get into doing your podcast?
How'd I get into? Yeah. So, we do a video, or I was interested in social media, and what better subject than following? It was either that or basketball, and I figured I wasn't going to be on ESPN. So
on both, right?
Yeah. So figure we come down,
basketball.
Yeah. We figure
we got to smoke weed and play basketball at the same time.
I think they all do.
I know, but I mean with a joint in your mouth while you're playing basketball. So if your joint drops, it's just like dropping the ball.
I think that's him. That's how he plays. That's
smart. That's a good way to play, man.
So we kind of got into it. We said, what can we do, or subject or topics that we cover, and that was something we were all interested in. So to show up and video that, or do product or promos for companies like that, that's something you could definitely get behind and do and advocate. So that's why we got here. So and then we got to the Errl Cup, we went to the event, I think we went last November, and we took a lot of shots, and I was like, I think we could help them, do promos. And, how does he put this together? Like, how does the whole thing? We thought everybody would like to hear that. So we said, let's come talk to Jim Morrison. I heard the name. I said, shit, it's Jim Morrison. We got to go down there and see what it is. And so that's how we came to talk to you, or got down here. So question, so where do you see yourself going in the future, and where do you see the event going, or what are the plans? I know you said you're going to branch out to other states.
We got to make sure our laws are right, and I'm having the attorney look at different ones that we want to go to, and then from that, we want to keep improving it here. I mean, I don't want to oversaturate my deal to where that's why I do it twice a year. I want that award to be something. I don't want to do it every week type of thing. But I look to help other people and to do other things in the industry in any place. I help people now, and one of the things that I see that we can get into is I see looking at getting to the other states and giving that option to get in there and have it the same type of access they have it here, and for other people to experience the product is going to be a cool thing. It's every state. The Cannabis Cup, and this is my opinion. I went to it after. Thank God I went to it after I started my event, not before, because.
So you started your event before you had actually went to a Cannabis Cup?
I never did an event before in my life, and I never went to the Cannabis Cup. So, but thank God I didn't, because I went there and I paid $50. I got a bottle of water for VIP. By the way, it's $40 for parking, $50 in the cup itself, and $50 for VIP. I got in VIP. I got a little poster in their bag, some rolling papers, some gummies, and a bottle of water. In my event, I was freaking out when we did have 6 desserts. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, because we tried to give them something out of value, and they don't there. They look at it as a profit machine. Let me everybody sell weed. Let me get these people in there and rush them through. Let me charge the vendors a fucking hell of a lot of money, and let me charge everybody a hell of a lot of money. My dad was an entrepreneur, man. He looked at things as like, when I was coming home and I said I had a bad day at work, he'd say, well, fucking quit. Start your own job. It's like I work for a computer company. Start your own computer company. I got the money. So I was looking at it as that I want to give people a chance. So my vendors, they don't pay a lot to be at my event, and I didn't want, after I learned that I couldn't have them in there, it worked out better, because with the people coming in free, it gave a lot more people the opportunity to have something access to that a lot of people didn't and would never do. And having the ability to come to it and not pay to do it, then they want to come back and do it. And then we get lifelong people, like you've seen the volunteers that, fall in love with the concept, the love of the people, and like to help us, and then get in love with the other people we have. And that's like the volunteers that come here. We give them the ability to have some place to go. It's here at the lodge and our offices, because you want a place to get high when you're rolling down the street sometime, or you're over by something, So they all have access to it, because there's no place you can have access to any other place. You can't go get high with other people in a bar someplace. So that's why we're really proud. Like with the VFW, we're trying to help them do the same thing. Is that just like the vets, give them access to it. We don't kill anybody. We're not alcohol. They're killing people by just drinking it and car murders and stuff. But us in the product that we have, we're not killers. We're not, people aren't running out the road to run into people. They're running down the home to get home, and they're going usually a lot slower. And I believe I'm a better driver, but that's just me. But, it's something that, the stigma, if it gets off, I think a lot of things change in the future to where you have those clubs that are allowed to do those things, because I'd rather want that if I was somebody out there that was driving or anything, because your crime's not going to be there. But as soon as you add alcohol, your crime goes up in all ways with that drug, or any drug or anything. So not having that and them having, again, that's how much power they had. They were able to talk them into allowing to do all the things that they do, versus us that doesn't have any fucking power and we can't do anything. So I hope that the evolution comes to where we have, the ability to have that access to it. I hope we can help change it, but you need I bartended for a long time, man. I mean, I've been there, especially in Nevada. I was there at 4 and 5 in the fucking morning, starting at 9. And drunk fucks. I don't like that crowd. I've been around the weed crowd. I have the weed crowd around me now all the time. And I do my events. I like that crowd. You're not, there's not problems. There's not theft. There's not destruction. There's not anger. They just want to get high. They'd rather around people who want to get high. So we can all do that. I think we'd be a lot better off.
Fair enough. I had another question. I don't remember what it is. But this talking to you, it's like you seem like a lot more of an advocate than just you say, I'm just a pleathead or pothead or I just smoke weed, but it's talking, you know the numbers. It very much seems like an advocate. So what you said earlier, it's kind of an advocate group. I hear it coming out of you.
I do, because we get pushed down, man. I mean, you can understand from your point of view, but from on a weed point of view, it's like I call people at places that don't accept us because we smoke weed. I talk to other places don't want us to smoke weed. Every place that we went to part of this, I would leave better because I didn't want to leave a bad reputation for us, because this is all we have right now is the start of it. And, that had to come in all areas then, because then they got looked to on the political side of it and looked to on this. I was just a dude just doing fucking weed events, dude. I was just looking to get high. And it came to me that way. And I have to be an advocate because of the position I'm in. I'll give you a perfect example. My attorney called me up after the law was passed. The appellate court ruled that concentrates were illegal. And he called me, Jim, come into my office. I need to talk to you. That always fears the shit out of me. Comes in, he goes, you can't do concentrates at your events anymore. I said, what? He goes, that's the law. And he goes, you have to do that. I said, why, Tom? I don't want to do that. He goes, because they look at you as what you need to do. And if you don't present yourself as what the law is, then anybody that looks at you and looks at that event will believe it's legal. And it's not legal. So I had to not do concentrates. I got so much shit from dispensaries to say my events you couldn't bring concentrate to it, because they don't look at concentrates as a dollar amount, man. Weed is a dollar amount, and that costs money to grow. But after you trim it down and throw that trim in a fucking machine and bust out this shit, that shit don't cost me anything. I give it to them all the time. As soon as weed came to play, it's like, hey, dude, what are you doing? I got to bring out this weed for you. So it was something that, it changed that point at me at that point in time, because what I was doing wasn't just about me getting high anymore. It was about, because I had that platform that I had, and weed was starting in this area. If I didn't do it the right way, we'd all be idiots. If I didn't do it free, if I didn't do it the right way, I didn't do it legally, what am I going to do? I'm going to tell everybody else, hey, just like the Department of Health did, go ahead and buy this. It's illegal. And as soon as you left the dispensary, cop could pull you over and say, now you're going to jail. That's what happened with Rodney Jones. It came to the point is they forced their own card. They wanted the money, but they're out. Go ahead and do it, and the cops bust them that way. So he was telling, my aspect was, is if you promote it too, then it's okay. And once that hit, I had to change my stance on it. I had to be more of an advocate, because I knew it was like, I knew that I wasn't just smoking weed anymore. What I was telling people, they were listening to in a sense. And I'm not looking to have that position, man. As you can tell when you were trying to talk to me or get me to do it, I'm not somebody that seeks that, man. But when it came after me, I had to go that way, because if I didn't, then the people behind me, the ones that didn't do it right and were illegal, and they go get their conversations too, were going to get fucked up information. And I wasn't going to go that route. I wasn't going to allow us to start out that route, and for us to be okay in doing things like concentrates, because I truly believe they were illegal at that point in time, and I didn't let anybody do them, and I couldn't allow it to happen. And they hated it. But if you sanction something, like what Tom says, and that's the law at the highest, and that's what the stupid part was out, is it's a law at the highest level of our appellate system, ruled it that way. And the Arizona Department of Health Services said, keep producing it. It's fine. Are you fucking high? So we don't even have morality within the system of the people of the Arizona Department of Health Services. So maybe in my side of it, say that I'm up in, I have, my position is, if I'm not, then who else is going to be on it? It's not that. It's when you get put into position to do something, and this, again, just an event, if I don't do it right, if I don't do it legally right or look at it right, then I'm not making a statement that I'd want to make or leave to somebody else to make. I want to do it to where what we're doing is respected. What we're doing is not a bunch of potheads getting high. An event that you went to in November, I invited every Senate and House member to my event. I gave them 2 free VIP tickets to come. Invited every one of them.
How'd you do that? You mail it to them?
No, I had one of the guys bring it to their offices, each one of them, because he had access to the house floors. And that's because I had to get somebody like that. That's what I had. I had to get people inside because I didn't know what I was doing. So then that's relationship building. I built that relationship over a period of time, and I believed it was this point for them since it was legal. So I said, come see us. Come hang out with us. We tried to get the sheriff to go at that point in time.
Joe Arpaio?
Not Arpaio. It was the one that we had. But I don't want to hide anything with them. If they come see it, and you come see the crowd we have, and you come see the people around, how are you not going to say, what the hell are we doing? And this is your voting block now. It's a large majority of your voting block. You better get to fucking come know them. So I did that again because that wasn't a money play to me. I wasn't trying to get any type of benefit. It was, I got to rub these guys the right way. We got to make them look good. If we don't, who the fuck is? They're going to look at us the same way. Trust me, I'm a Republican. And through and through, always have been. But I look at them being idiots because here are fucking idiots sitting there in a capitalistic market. They're about business. Here's the greatest increase in business of any industry out there that has an existing customer base with an existing product. And you're not on fucking board? Come on, fucking pull your heads out of your ass. Oklahoma's on board. They got 3,300 dispensaries. Their ounce price is $25 an ounce on some specials. Are you high? That's because you have people out there that are businesses. Businesses create, demand, which lowers the price. I mean, that's how we do things. You don't sit there and push it one way, which it's a fucked up way. That's why our price when I went and paid weed from 2 years ago went up 66%. On our quarter. Gas. Yeah, it did. It stayed the same amount. Do you know that on the 60% it stayed the same amount? Last year, the price of the wholesale weed went down from $3,000 to $2,500 a pound to $2,000 to $1,500 a pound. But our retail price stayed up the same. Who affects that? That's the fucking guys that they actually, people out there. That's the harvests. That's the Curaleaf. They didn't change their goddamn price. They beat wholesale up and said, you better give me a fucking better price on this goddamn thing. And then after they did it, they didn't give it out to the fucking consumer. We stayed to pay the same amount as we did, because I bought 52 strands this event. It was the same amount as it was last year. And it was last year was 66 on the increase. But I know because I talked to the people that are the wholesalers and the sellers to them, what the price of wheat is at. And it's gone down by, Jesus, it was down by $1,000 to $1,000. So you don't see it at the store. Why is that? Because they're fucking greedy, pardon my language. I love them all to death, but I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, we don't have any type of competition. It's one cat. It's like when you used to buy weed. It's like, you want one guy at the store. Yeah. I got one store, man.
All right. So 5 years from now, where do you see the Errl Cup? You see still stuff running this event? You still see yourself doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I don't think we've had people offer to buy us. We're not looking to sell. We enjoy what we do, and it would be. It'd be interesting to see me change to not do anything else like that. But yeah, I still see me doing it in 5 years. I came from Hawaii. I'd like to take it there, but we'll see how that goes. That's a long way to move my truck.
Yeah. Man, well, I think that's all the questions we got for you. So thanks for joining us at the Flower Network, Jim Morrison. It was definitely interesting hearing how you got into starting the festival and all the political and all the stuff that goes into and almost advocacy that you have to go through to actually get there.
It's a tough thing, but it's a good industry to be in.
All right.
Thank
you,
sir. Appreciate it.
Yep.